Human experience is often marked by an internal dialogue, a push and pull between different aspects of our consciousness. Now, we shall explore one of the most fundamental scopes for tension within ourselves: the relationship between the mind and the spirit. The mind is our rational center, the seat of logical thinking and analytical processing. It processes information through reason and logic. It creates order from chaos through categorization and structure. It seeks to understand through evidence and clear patterns. It relies on past experiences to make future predictions, and it operates within the realm of the known and measurable. Practical examples of the mind at work are a researcher methodically testing hypotheses in a laboratory, an architect calculating precise measurements for a building, a chess player analyzing potential moves and their consequences, a financial advisor creating data-driven investment strategies. Meanwhile, the spirit represents our deeper essence, our intuitive and transcendent nature. It connects us to our sense of purpose and meaning, guides us through intuition and felt wisdom, and yearns for growth, transformation, and evolution. The spirit operates beyond the boundaries of rational thought and seeks authentic expression and alignment with our true nature. Manifestations of the spirit in action are an artist following creative inspiration without knowing the outcome, a person feeling inexplicably drawn to a particular life path or a particular mode of being, a sudden deep knowing about a situation without any logical explanation, the experience of profound connection during meditation or inner exploration. When the mind and the spirit fall out of alignment, we experience inner conflict. This can manifest itself as the spirit challenging the mind. Sometimes our spirit recognizes the need for growth before our mind is ready. The spirit senses a need for change, while the mind clings to familiar patterns. The spirit's intuitive knowing conflicts with the mind's need for rational analysis. The spirit's call for transformation meets resistance from the mind's established thought patterns. Career transitions can often derive from the spirit asserting itself in relation to the mind, or from the mind asserting itself in relation to the spirit. So, for example, the spirit can feel itself being deeply called to pursue a creative career, or the mind can know itself to be calculating financial risks and practical obstacles. It seeks to rethink itself away from risk and uncertainty and into some kind of practical safety. In both these processes, there is tension. The tension between security on the one hand and fulfillment on the other. In the context of relationships, the spirit can find itself sensing, intuiting that a relationship has run its course, while the mind can find itself listing logical reasons to maintain the status quo. Here there can be a tension between what is conceived as growth versus what is conceived as stability. Here the self-protecting mind is challenging the freedom and belief in a happy fate of the spirit. Other times, our mind recognizes inconsistencies in our spiritual framework. Rational analysis reveals contradictions in our beliefs. Logical thinking questions the validity of intuitive choices. the mind's focus on practical concerns can challenge the spiritual aspirations of the spirit. Common scenarios for this can be in the area of our belief systems. The mind can sense itself identifying logical inconsistencies in our spiritual beliefs. Meanwhile, the spirit wants to hold space and awareness for mystery and paradox. Here, there can be a tension between understanding and acceptance, independent of any seeming rationality. This conflict can lead to a perceived need for decision-making. This is where the mind is requiring concrete evidence for choices, while the spirit is seeking to operate on faith and intuition. It's the fundamental tension between proof, derived from evidence on the one hand, and trust, a kind of faith in the world on the other. Creating a balance between mind and spirit requires a recognition and acceptance that both of these aspects of the self have a role to play within our inner dynamic of being. It's important to acknowledge both aspects as essential parts of our whole. We also need to understand that tension can be a catalyst for growth. Achieving a better dynamic between mind and spirit comes from accepting that both mind and spirit have wisdom to offer. We can enable that through experimenting with one or more of an array of practices within the general context of integration practices, where we seek to see the value of both of these parts of the self and to give them both scope for action in our lives. For example, periodic or daily journaling can help us keep track of both logical and intuitive insights. Regular meditation can help us to observe the interplay of thoughts and intuition. Contemplative walking can help us to integrate body, mind, and spirit in a balanced approach to decision-making. Also, creating pros and cons lists that include both practical and intuitive factors can enable us to keep track of these two parts of ourselves. These methods encourage us to give thought to both analytical thinking and intuitive guidance. Alternatively, or as well, consulting both experts and spiritual mentors when facing major decisions is also beneficial, as is creative expression. Engaging in art, music, or movement helps to bridge rational and intuitive realms. Writing poetry or stories that combine structure with creative flow. Dancing or movement practices that unite physical discipline with spiritual freedom. Growth through attention is a way of our using conflict as a teacher, so that we view inner tension as a signal for needing better integration in our inner lives, where we treat disagreements between mind and spirit as opportunities for deeper understanding. Learning to hold space for both perspectives without immediate resolution comes when we develop discernment, which is where we practice when to lead with logic and when to trust intuition. It is about learning to recognize the appropriate timing for different approaches so that we can build confidence in both rational and intuitive wisdom. Other ways in which we can create dialogue within ourselves are by using techniques like active imagination or dialogue journaling. Active imagination is a powerful technique developed by Carl Jung for engaging with different aspects of our psyche. In its simplest form, it involves finding a quiet space and comfortable position and then calming the mind with a few minutes of meditation. After which, we need to imagine our mind and spirit as distinct characters or entities, allowing them to take form naturally. They might appear as figures, colours, or abstract forms, and observing their interaction without controlling the narrative. It is through developing a personal practice of inner counsel, however we decide to do this, that we can get help with practical matters and can get help in our professional life, particularly by giving us ways to balance efficiency with creativity. In these kinds of ways, we can develop our ability to combine strategic planning with intuitive innovation, so that we can better integrate personal values with professional goals. On a more personal level, and in terms of our personal relationships, we can find ourselves better able to merge emotional intelligence with clear boundaries. As we develop, we can find ourselves becoming more skilled at combining empathy with healthy discernment, and more skilled in balancing connection with others, with independence in ourselves. And so, with time, our personal growth will come from uniting goal setting with organic development, and from combining structured practice with spontaneous exploration, and from integrating measurable progress with spiritual evolution. The tension between mind and spirit, while sometimes uncomfortable, serves as a powerful driver of personal evolution. By learning to navigate this internal dialogue with awareness and compassion, we can create a more integrated and harmonious sense of self. The goal is not to eliminate tension, but to harness it as a creative force for growth and transformation. Remember that the journey of integration is ongoing. Each moment of tension offers a new opportunity to deepen our understanding and expand our capacity for wholeness. As we learn to honor both our rational and intuitive nature, we discover a more complete and authentic way of being in the world.